Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm so glad my friend from California just brought up Lois Lerner and the IRS and your comment, Professor Turley, that was troubling in terms of targeting a particular point of view, because, of course, that's not true. As we learned, the Inspector General, the TIGTA, deliberately focused only on conservative filters, even though he was presented with clear evidence that the filters were nonpartisan. There were liberal filters, lefty filters, conservative filters, Republican filters, Democratic filters, but they chose because they wanted to make a case that this was deliberate censorship and targeting by the IRS. Wasn't true, never was true. False premise. And that's what I worry about right here on this committee. The premise is the FBI is tainted. The FBI is doing dirty work. It's got the hobnail boot of government on the necks of the American people who are simply trying to express themselves. Mr. Williams, you think the insurrectionists, thousands of them, who came here, many of them armed, that led to 5 deaths and the storming of the Capitol, to try to prevent the constitutional certification of the counting of the ballots for the President of the United States on January 6, 2021. You think that was nothing more than patriots who got a little carried away and they were just expressing their First Amendment rights, and the FBI shouldn't have been looking at it and certainly shouldn't be prosecuting people for it?
Well, certainly, sir. I believe almost 1,000, if not over 1,000 people have been charged with crimes in connection with that day. Several people have now been convicted by juries and also with findings that were affirmed by federal judges of seditious conspiracy. That's using force or threats to impede or delay the execution of laws of the United States. So pretty clear.
I guess I hear you saying we need to make a distinction between the expression of views, which is absolutely protected under the Constitution of the United States, First Amendment, and the use of violence to propound and propagate those views.
That is correct. So the First Amendment does not protect the use of violence.
Correct. In fact, that's illegal.
Correct.
So when we talk about parents just going to school boards, trying to express their concerns, that's true. Many parents go. I was a parent with a kid in a school system. I was a card-carrying PTA member. I certainly testified now and then about the school budget or school issues, but I didn't threaten the lives or families of school board members. I didn't anonymously threaten violence or let it be known that I knew where they lived and that there'd be trouble. That's a different form of speech, isn't it?
Yes.
Would it be wrong for the FBI under some circumstances to be called in to look into that for the protection of elected school board members and, for that matter, active parents?
Both the FBI or state and local authorities who also have the ability to investigate violent crime.
So do you think the FBI is the enemy of the American people?
I do not believe, in my experience, look, again, I was in government for 15 years.
Do you think the FBI ought to be defunded?
I do not believe the FBI should be defunded.
So, for example, if they were, the Tampa field office that infiltrated and spent 6 months embedded in a network of ransomware gag, Hive, and took it down. Hive is no longer functioning. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That is a very good thing. Look, I was a prosecutor and a senior executive at the Justice Department. Fighting crime is a good thing, and I think we can all agree on that.
I see. So they're not just, you know, censoring free speech. They're actually doing some good things that protect the American people?
Yes.
Would you say that characterizes largely their mission and their function?
In my experience of working with the FBI and other federal law enforcement for years, absolutely, sir, that was my experience.
So we have to put everything in context here. We can't allow somebody who asserts they're up to no good because a particular agent or a couple of agents may be doing X, Y, and Z, ought not to taint the entire function and mission or personnel of the FBI. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement, correct.
And that goes to their other missions: cybersecurity protection, human sex trafficking, breaking up those rings, and for that matter, protecting us from domestic extremists who are propounding and using violence as a weapon to further their cause.
What is special about the FBI, sir, very quickly, is that unlike many other law enforcement agencies, it has both a counterterrorism element and a law enforcement element. Now, many people may think those are all one and the same, but those are actually two different functions. And so, yes, both of those help keep the American people safe.
I thank you, and I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. The gentleman from Utah, Mr. Stewart, is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman, and to witnesses. Thank you, Mr. Turley. My condolences that you've had to sit through